The Harmony switch from Keeb Hut is manufactured by Wikuo, which is a new manufacturer with pretty much no information available on the internet. I did find one other switch produced by them, their Silent Linear, that's available on drop.com. Now, besides the big 3 or 4, I guess, Chinese switch manufacturers, being Gateron, JWK, Kale, and Texi, there are a lot of smaller manufacturers that have their own manufacturing lines but may be produced in the same factories. Based on the fact that the Harmony switch uses POC, which we first saw on this channel in the B-Sun X, but which was also marketed by TTC in their flaming switches, it was a little confusing tracking down any info on Wikuo. I reached out to some awesome resources, first being the GOAT himself, Thermingo. He just posted a review of the Lichix Lucy switch, and according to his mold comparisons, the Wikuo switches are very similar to Lichix. This suspicion was shared by John at Switch Oddities, who sells single switches over at switchoddities.com and has probably the largest collection of one-offs and obscure switches available for sale. Here's a photo he sent of the bottom housings of the Harmony and Lucy, which appear functionally identical and unique when compared to any other switch manufacturer's bottom housings. Last, when I reached out to the daddy himself, Gion of Gionworks, on an unrelated topic for another upcoming review, we started talking about POC, which is actually sold by a South Korean company, Hyosun Chemical, and has similar properties to PEEK and Teflon. So unlike some other proprietary plastics like PA666, HPE, or LY, POC is readily available for any manufacturer to use in their own switches. So while it's unclear whether Wikuo is truly an independent manufacturer or is connected to Lichix in some way, one thing that's clear is that the Harmony switches are pretty unique compared to anything else I've tried on the channel. Part of it is due to the winglatch design, which was first widely seen in Kale manufactured switches like the Halo Trues and Clears, which were used to make Holy Pandas, and the box switches of GMK stem cracking fame. Looking at this smorgasbord of switches that John sent over, many of which aren't readily available outside of China, it's clear that the winglatch style is a lot more popular there than in the Western market, but to each their own. So let's go to the specs, right after you each your own and smash that like button. Getting back to the Harmony, let's talk specs. It's a standard travel linear with a POC top, a nylon bottom, and a palm stem. The spring is a 55-gram short spring, and based on my fingers it feels like a 55-gram actuation with closer to a 60-gram bottom out. However, there is one thing to note about the Harmony, and that's the unique sound and feel, which reminds me a lot of the Novelkeys Cream Plus that I reviewed a while back. When using the titanium or copper inserts, the Cream Plus had a very hard, kind of nail-like bottom out, and the Harmonies managed to recreate a very similar sound and feel with palm on nylon. I think the cause is a large stem pole bottom, which doesn't taper quite as much as most other switches and has a flat bottom unlike cherry stems, which are rounded. Overall, it's pretty unique, so let's go to the stock typing sound so you can hear what I'm talking about. Here we go. The switches are very smooth stock and they do come factory lubed. Opening up the switch, there's a pretty big glob of an opaque paste on the leaf and stem leg, which works to improve smoothness and reduce any crap sounds coming from the leaf. And these switches are very smooth stock with zero crap sounds, so I'm pretty pleased with the factory lube job and the overall stock experience. Also, most of the sound on these switches comes from that pretty substantial bottom out, so lubing the top housings would have minimal impact on the overall sound of the switch. I don't know if these are necessarily the best fit with ABS keycaps because it really brings out the clack on the downstroke, which isn't bad if that's what you're looking for, but isn't my usual preferred sound profile. Let's take a listen with some PBT keycaps. So the sound signature of these switches is definitely on the Clacky side, with that unique and crispy downstroke sound that's really unlike any other switch that I've tried. To be honest, I don't know if it's my preferred type feel or sound signature, because overall it leads to a very stiff feeling bottom out, which is exacerbated by the light spring. And when we're talking value, it gets a little harder to recommend. They're listed on KeepHut's website at 60 cents per switch, and at that price, they're a harder sell, if only because you can get a similar sound and feel from the Novel Keys creams with the copper inserts, but you also get a very solid, more typical linear switch by removing that insert for not that much more money per switch. Now don't get me wrong, there is nothing objectively bad about the Harmony switches. They offer a great stock experience to the point where I didn't see any benefit to re-lubing over them. And if you're looking for the clackiest switch possible, then these are a great contender. But hey, if you made it this far, I've been toying with the idea of shipping samples of the switches I receive for review to you guys so you can try them for yourselves. If that sounds like something you're interested in, leave a LFG in the comments, and if there's enough interest, I'll see how we can get that started. Thanks as always. You can check out some more keyboard content here. I'm MakerMods, and I'll catch you in the next video.